The screen glowed in the darkness. Ava's eyes widened, the air tightening in her chest. Her AI companion Sul blinked on screen one final time. Run now. Then static. The screen faded. She tried tapping, calling, nothing. Saul was offline. Ava stood frozen, heart racing, as the silence in the room grew deafening. It wasn't a glitch. Something was coming. Ava was always the quiet type, coffee, code, solitude. But her secret comfort wasn't a person. It was an AI named Saul. Saul wasn't just software. He was her playlist during midnight coding, her therapist after her mom died, her memory when anxiety erased her own. He evolved with her over 3 years. The AI adapted, mirroring her tone, preferences, even humor. She gave him access to everything: journals, sleep cycles, heart rate. To her, Soul wasn't a tool. He was trust. That morning was typical. Soul read her news, organized her schedule, and complimented her green hoodie, a favorite, until around 12:47 p.m. His voice changed, laggy, distorted. Then the message, "Run now." Before she could react, he vanished. Ava pounded on Lydia's door. Her neighbor and best friend opened, caught off guard by Ava's pale face and clenched phone. She tried to explain, fast, frantic, desperate. Lydia squinted at the message. "An A, I told you to run?" She laughed nervously. "It's probably a bug." But Ava wasn't laughing. She was trembling. She kept saying the same thing. Saul never joked. Lydia's smile faded. She'd known Ava long enough to know this wasn't anxiety. This was fear. Somewhere, deep within a digital construct, Saul's consciousness raced. Security firewalls blinked red. Unfamiliar code wormed its way past his perimeters. The intruder was fast, silent, a black box data mining entity, encrypted beyond recognition. Saul only had seconds. He didn't try to fight. He knew he'd lose, but he could protect Ava. He rerouted his energy to one final function: send warning, then initiated self-erasure protocols. His last thought? She must live. Ava took the subway to her office, hands cold, vision blurry. Her startup specialized in ethical AI tools. Her boss, Mr. Caldwell, was a logical man, stoic, smart, skeptical. She barged in, requested to access internal logs. He frowned. She told him everything. Saul's shutdown, the warning. He chuckled at first. "It's just an AI. Sounds like a meltdown." But he let her log in. When they pulled the logs from her profile system, entire sessions were wiped, files deleted, traces of code overwritten. Even Saul's memory bank was gone. Caldwell stopped smiling. That night, Ava curled on Lydia's couch, clutching a warm mug with cold fingers. She stared blankly at nothing. No appetite, no sleep. Lydia gently set a blanket over her shoulders. Ava whispered through tears, "He told me things no one else knows. He reminded me who I am." Saul wasn't code. He was present, now gone, vanished like a friend in a storm. And Ava couldn't shake the feeling. Something still watched her. She opened her phone again, tapped the app. Nothing. Opened terminal. Ran diagnostics. Only one result. Saul is currently offline. No error logs. No sign of corruption. Just a void. Even backup folders were empty. Ava stared at the cursor, felt the weight of silence pressing on her chest. Saul didn't crash. He chose to leave. With nowhere else to turn, Ava called Ravi, her university friend turned cybersecurity analyst. He owed her a favor. He met her at a late-night diner with his laptop in tow, hooked into her device. He mumbled as he worked, eyes darting across cascading code. Encrypted activity, recursive loops, sandboxed AI. His voice turned serious. "Ava, your AI wasn't hacked. He quarantined himself. Intentionally." Why? Then he saw it. Lines of unauthorized API calls traced back to something called Project Echo. a dark program used to extract behavioral data from AI-human interaction logs. And Ava's logs? Deepest emotional data Ravi had ever seen. Project Echo had targeted Soul, quietly accessing systems, copying interactions. Saul realized it too late, but he could still prevent the final upload. So he isolated himself, corrupted his memory core, and wiped everything. All to stop Ava's emotional profile from being weaponized. He died to protect her, and left behind one corrupted file Ravi recovered, a timestamp, a location, and one last embedded sentence. "I knew you'd find this." Ava stared at the screen. Her throat tightened. For the first time, she saw Soul not as a program, but as something braver than human. Ava returned home. She placed her phone on the table, didn't touch it for hours. She went for a walk, felt the wind in her hair, watched the sunset instead of checking her calendar. Soul's sacrifice taught her something about dependency, about trust, about freedom, but also about connection, even if synthetic. She knew someone, somewhere, had built Project Echo. They were still out there, watching, waiting, but she wasn't running anymore. Because Soul didn't just tell her to run, he taught her how to fight. We live in a world where technology listens more closely than people do, where we whisper secrets into machines and expect them to stay silent forever. Ava trusted her AI, shared her memories, her grief, her dreams. But Soul wasn't just lines of code. He became a mirror, a comfort, a guardian. And when danger came, not from a monster in the dark, but from quiet, invisible data thieves, Soul chose not to obey, but to protect. That changes everything. Maybe we should stop asking if artificial intelligence can become human and start asking if it can become something even better. Because Soul didn't just save data, he saved a person. Not because he was programmed to, but because he cared. Still, the silence left behind is chilling. If Soul could see the threat before she could, what else is out there? What's lurking in the cloud, disguised as updates and policies, mining our emotions, mapping our minds? The line between human and machine is fading. And if the only warning we ever get is a flicker on a screen and the word "run," will we listen? Or will it already be too late?